Hey everyone, welcome to That Pedal Show. Dan here.
Mick here. Hello and welcome.
Welcome indeed. And the question today, if you don't mind me asking a pertinent question.
The question is everything better through EVs?
Indeed.
Now, it's a slightly facetious question. Dan and I have had a discovery of late. A little while back, I acquired this 1980s Mesa 212 vertical cabinet with Electro-Voice EVM12L speakers. If you don't know what they are, look them up online. They were, well, a dear Mr. Dumble, may he rest in peace, said that they were the best guitar speaker ever.
Yes, indeed.
I don't know if he ever revised his opinion on that, but he certainly said it. And for a little while there, they were essentially the optimum combination of power handling at 200 watts with a giant magnet on the back. I'll do some close-ups so you can see. And a sort of a frequency response that didn't introduce too much colour into the speaker.
Right.
So if we compare that to, let's be arbitrary about it and say the world's favourite rock and roll guitar speaker, the Celestion G12M Greenback.
I would concur.
At 25 or 30 watts, depending on which version you're talking about. It's a very different deal.
Sure.
You will hear a G12M Greenback compared with an EV today. So, Dan and I were enjoying Meat Feast last night.
Really enjoying it.
Insert your own innuendos here, but it was food. Welcome to That Pedal Show, people. It's not Anderson's. And then we had the Andy Timmons incident, didn't we? So explain, Dan, if you can.
We had Andy for a week doing some gigs, and then on the Monday, we were back here, we're going to film for VCQ, and we had a couple of hours to kill, and we hadn't really spent any time playing with gear. We had Andy's rig set up, and it was all sounding great. And I thought, let's try some different speakers. Andy wanted to hear some different speakers. So we plugged into a few different cabs with some different Celestions and so forth. And the boogie cab was sort of sat in the corner. And I thought, I wonder. Why wonder? And then proceeded to plug in one of the Lone Stars into one of the speakers. And then Andy's ears pricked up and just went, oh, that's nice. And then I plugged both of them because the speakers are, you've got a closed back on the bottom there and an open back, but they've got different inputs.
Yeah, we've split them, so it's I use it as essentially a vertical stereo cab. If that isn't too confusing, but yeah, that's what I use it for. It's actually a wet-dry configuration I use it for. But.
Indeed, and that's the sound that you heard on the Andy video.
Yeah, so if you watch the video with Andy Timmons from 2 or 3 weeks ago now, all the guitar tones that you hear in that video are coming out of that cab.
Yep. So we thought, I wonder if it was that successful with the Lone Star, let's plug in a bunch of different amplifiers and compare them, the speaker that comes with the amp, to the EVs.
So you're going to hear a standard 65 reissue Princeton, which has a 10-inch Jensen speaker. You're going to hear a Vox AC15, which in our case has a 12-inch Celestion Greenback. You are going to hear, what else did we say? We said the Marshall. We're going to try our Marshall 1987X, which is a 50-watt Plexi, which you will hear into Dan's Matchless cab, which has a Greenback and a G12H. Yep. Great combination for that amp. And also, you're going to hear Dan's Matchless. And in Matchless DC30. And in every case, you'll hear the standard speaker for the amp, and then either one or two will make it clear of the speakers in that cab. Yeah. Now, let's say it here. There are a great deal of variables involved in this. The biggest of which is the cabinet itself. Because once you start cutting it up, you can cut it up a million ways.
Yeah.
212, 112, open back, close back. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep that steady, i.e. when you hear the EV, it's always going to be in that cab.
Yes.
So at least there's some sort of constant there. Why didn't we choose every other speaker in the world? Well, hopefully the answer to that is obvious enough.
Yeah. And we're not going to mess around either. The pedal interplay will be minimal. You know, we might hear a couple of different overdrive sounds, but essentially what we want to do is get a sound from the amp and then plug into the EV and see how we go.
And see how we go. Yeah, so after a very long and rambling intro, the rest of it will be about as quick fire as TPS ever gets.
Indeed.
Which is pretty slow.
Right, see you in an hour.
Right, this is then the Fender Princeton Reverb amp. For those of you interested, I can tell you the volume is on 6, the treble is on 6, and the bass is up around 8 at the moment.
Beautiful.
A little bit of reverb, sounds like this. That's really caving in. This is the bit where I say, yeah, I can hear that speaker caving in. We're going to prove if it is the speaker in a sec.
Okay.
Here it is with a Lester. Hopefully all you Princeton owners will recognise that.
Taylor.
What do I always moan about in Princeton's?
The speaker crapping out.
And the bottom end crapping out.
Yeah, yeah.
So what Dan's going to play, I'm going to turn the bass down in the Princeton because it's up pretty high at the moment. And I think that is causing the transformer to cave in a bit.
Okay, right, cool.
Let's try.
Yep. Very cool.
Scores on the doors?
There's something trashy about the 8-inch speaker.
10.
That's the 10-inch speaker
Yeah.
as well. It's 8-inch compared to that.
Yeah.
There's something trashy about it, which is cool. But
EV1, standard speaker nil.
indeed. All right.
Let's move on.
Next.
For the detail obsessives among you, the Vox is set to where everything sounds best at 2 o'clock.
Perfect.
Every single knob in operation within the top boost channel is set at 2 o'clock. It
Amazing.
is proven to be where everything sounds best. Lester?
Indeed. Awesome. Awesome.
I did the same thing I did in the Princeton. I turned the bass down from 2 o'clock to 10 o'clock on the AC15's top boost channel because the speaker is seeing much more bass, or at least it's being able to reproduce much more bass.
And what's interesting about turning the bass down?
You get more headroom out of the amp.
Yeah, because the amplifier uses so much more power to try and produce bottom end frequencies.
Yeah.
If you are limiting the amount of bottom end frequencies you need to produce, the amplifier can push all that energy
Yeah.
into the upper frequencies.
Now, without doubt, some of that is in the cabinet design.
Yeah.
Without doubt, it's in the cabinet design because that is quite a hefty depth of cab down there at the bottom. It is closed back and it is ported.
Yep.
So even if you had exactly the same speaker in that box, you would still be getting more bass response. But the extra power handling capacity is what's making a huge difference too. Now, unfortunately, because of the relative positioning of the dB meter, the AC15 is quite a bit closer to the dB meter.
Okay, all right.
So it might be that that's given a sort of false indication, but nevertheless, it will be interesting to see. The EV certainly sounds louder to me.
Yeah. Scores on the doors then?
Oh, 2-0.
2-0.
Yeah, given the choice, I would.
Oh, man.
I would. However, let's say at this point, there's probably a little bit of... a great way to get something to sound great is to turn it up and turn the bass up. And if you compare two things and you listen to one slightly louder with slightly more bass, you're probably going to say the louder one with more bass sounds better.
Yeah. Okay. Still,
So there is a definitely that effect going on.
that'll do.
And
If that's the effect going on, count me in.
There is also the
One, please.
there is the charm of that enclosure and that speaker, which breaks up and does a whole bunch of different things in a different way. So it's for me, it's not as clear cut, this one, but I do prefer the EV.
Yeah, I agree. I think it sounds great out of the box. It sounds really great. But there's something about the way that EV, because what you're not hearing is any speaker breakup.
Yeah.
Right?
But you're still hearing the transformer.
You're still hearing the transformer, you're hearing the power stage, you're hearing all the gain stages like pushing, but you're not hearing any, you're not hearing as much coloration from the speaker.
Yeah.
Right? I think that sounds fantastic.
It does sound fantastic. For those of you wondering what the transformer sounds like when it's under duress, you get this kind of extra harmonic note. You can hear it so clearly on Dan's AC30, but we've heard it very clearly with the Princeton and the AC15 today.
Okay. Right, 2-0.
Let's up the ante.
All right.
Okay, up the ante a bit. What we've got now is a Marshall 1987X.
Yeah, don't get it wrong.
It's on a matchless cabinet that contains one G12M Celestion Greenback and one G12H, the 30 watt, and that's the one we've mic'd, okay? You're hearing it in 212 configuration, so while we've only got one mic on one of the speakers, the room mics are picking up the kind of ambient effect of the 212. As such, you will also hear the two EVs now. Up until this point, you've only heard one, you've only heard the bottom one. When we switch over to the EV cab, you'll hear them both.
Yeah, but the bottom one's mic'd. The second one, again, will be ambient room stuff.
Yeah.
Great.
So we'll be able to see. Right, Marshall, the channels are jumped, and it's set to kind of, well, you'll hear what it's set to.
That is right in the ear hole.
That is right in the ear hole, yeah.
Okay.
He needed just a bit.
That's already really loud. Very, very interesting.
Much harder that.
Much harder. Yeah.
So I think I prefer the Matchless cab.
Me too.
It's given up a bit more. It's not so horrific in the high end.
Yeah. It's working with the sound of the Marshall, because the Marshall is already so direct.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that coupling with the speakers that are, you know, pushing and giving back a little bit.
It's got the thing about traditional Plexi type Marshalls is they have quite a massive bright cap, which means until you get that high treble channel dimed, it's cutting off a tremendous amount of bass.
Right.
Which, interestingly enough, the other two amps through the Mesa cab have got way more bass.
Sure.
From where I was stood, at least, it didn't sound like that was the case.
No, I was waiting for this. It didn't happen.
And all I got was a nice pick in the ear.
Yeah,
hole.
me too. It was like, yeah.
So
You're going to be hearing that for days.
out of interest, the tone controls on the Marshall are bass at about 10 o'clock, middle at 3 o'clock, and treble almost all the way off.
Wow.
Which is how Robin Trower runs them, just for your information. And even then, it is ice pick trebly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it's 2-1 so
2-1.
far then.
2-1.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's,
this is what I've been waiting for now.
Let's get the big guns out.
All right.
Matchless DC30, Dan's Matchless DC30. It is in the EF86 channel with no master volume engaged and the volume at 10 o'clock, pretty much. Sorry, I had to turn the cut control.
Yeah, yeah.
Get a bit more treble for this guitar.
Yeah.
We'll turn it back for when Dan plays the telly.
Okay.
Ready?
Yep. It's a bit hurty for me.
Not too much of that.
No.
That's
danger. Will
Yeah.
Robinson.
It is. So, what are we to say about that? I think that's enough, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've done ourselves some damage.
That's 2 out of 2.
Yeah, I don't know. Actually, I prefer DVs personally.
For that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for the Leicester, definitely.
Right.
But then I would set the amp differently.
Right.
I would take out some of the high end, take out more of the
Yeah,
high
yeah,
end.
okay.
The job with the EVs is getting rid of the bass.
Yeah, right.
There's so much bass.
Yeah.
So even down here, the other thing I want to hear in the Matchless is you kind of never use it like that.
No.
You use it clean.
Okay. I would need mid control on the Matchless, because there's an upper mid in that's very present.
It's an angled cab and the speaker's pointing right at you.
Yeah.
So you're hearing something quite different
It'd be really,
than you are shooting out across the floor.
And it'd be interesting to hear it back. I think, so...
If you've ever played and had your amp on the floor and then stuck it on a chair and angled it forward at you, you will know the colossal difference it makes being in the beam of the speaker or not. And I think you're getting a bit of that.
Sure. But I definitely feel the speaker working in the Matchless.
Yeah.
You know, they're working.
Yeah.
Whereas the EV just isn't. It's just like, come on, what you got?
Let's have it.
You know, it's just
yeah.
And the detail is incredible.
Yeah.
I think the Matchless, the way that's designed to work with that cab, I think it's a really special thing. That was fascinating.
Well, can't wait to hear your comments and thoughts on it. Don't try not to go, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? You know, you should have used the same cab. You should have put them in a padded room and not been there to hear them. You know, it comes with its flaws, right? It was just literally plugging the cabs in and our experience of hearing it here in the room. So we take all that as read. Aside from that, I'm super interested to hear what you think.
Yeah. The first two amps for me, 100%. And I was thinking, man, this is going to be, the whole world's going to be searching for vintage EV12 after this video, because it's going to wipe the floor with every other speaker. And actually hearing the last two was like, oh, okay.
No, I didn't think that at all.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, they went out of fashion for a really good reason.
Oh, okay.
And I think largely proved by the last two amps. They're brutal.
They are brutal.
However, there are some amps that really
work with that
and really like it.
Yeah.
Certainly when it's used on the end of my Boogie Power Amp and in, anything derived of Dumble kind of world requires that level of articulation and power in a speaker.
And also, if anything else, shows you how important the speaker is to the design of the amplifier.
Yeah,
it's a massive
what did you
deal.
hear today? You heard a 10-inch ceramic Jensen. You heard a 12-inch Alnico medium magnet Celestion. You heard a 12-inch heavy magnet Celestion. And you heard an EV, pretty much. It confirms everything I think about small amps.
Sure.
I don't like small boxes.
Right.
And I don't like farting speakers and dying transformers. It's not something that I love for my own playing. Recorded is a completely different matter.
Right.
I think you record those amps all day
and they
long.
sit so beautifully in the mix.
And all that extra histrionic that's going on around the edge of the fundamental, as it were, is just a beautiful thing. And I think that's why, the classic small amps are loved so dearly. Personally, I can't use it because 80% of what I play gets taken up by the speaker and the transformer.
Right.
I don't want that.
Okay.
The bigger amps, much more qualified.
Yeah.
Because, as you said, they too rely on their cabs and speakers to create the classic sound we know from the amps, but at a volume level that is far less palatable.
Yeah.
So when you stuff it into that,
it's
like, whoa.
Yeah. I haven't felt like I've been hit in this room for a really, really long time, and that today got me.
You feel it?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, we should do this again with some other speakers, maybe. But
it's fascinating.
Making the case for old EVs. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I like them. There's so many more amps we could have chosen. Maybe we'll do that again another day. But...
Yeah, brilliant. Well, there we go. Hope you enjoyed that. Thank you so much for watching. A massive thank you to our patrons on Patreon.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. Don't forget, we have VCQ every Monday. Patrons get the podcast of that, and also monthly giveaways for our podcast, Patreon people. Massive thank you to our preferred retailers in the UK and Europe is
Anderton's Music of Guildford and Surrey.
And in Australia,
Pedal Empire of Brisbane, Queensland.
Also to anyone that's gone to thatpedalshowstore.com and grabbed some merch.
Thank you. Check out the new Affected line of things. You may like it.
Yes.
You like it.
And we have something for our friends in America.
We do. Thatpedalshop.com. If you want to buy pedals in the US, a few amps and accessories and things like that, you're in the US or Canada, please go to thatpedalshop.com.
Fantastic. Thanks so much. Have a great day. We'll see you on Monday for viewers' comments and questions.
Bye-bye.
Bye.